Beloved soul, pause and let this sacred hush settle around you. Before you pressed play, heaven had already traced your steps toward this moment. Something unseen has been rising around your spirit, like a quiet current carrying you toward revelation. Tonight is not ordinary. Tonight stands on the edge of eternity. The Holy Spirit has whispered your name, guiding you here because this night may break you or make you, shape you or save you, lift you or warn you. And deep in your chest, you already feel the weight of it. What you've been wrestling with in silence, what's been shaking your peace, what's been stirring in the corners of your thoughts, is not confusion. It is the sign of a spiritual awakening pressing through your defenses. You've been sensing a shift without having words for it. A tightening, a trembling, a strange clarity rising through the fog. Chosen one, this is the moment when heaven aligns destiny with awareness. When divine purpose brushes against your humanity and asks you to pay attention. For days, even weeks, there has been a soft pull at your soul. The feeling that something in the unseen is watching your next step with holy intensity. This night is not just another night. It is a turning point, a crossroads heaven has marked with your name. Ecclesiastes 3:1 whispers, "To everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven." And this is your time, your threshold, your invitation. You've carried battles no one sees. You've smiled while your heart felt unsteady. You've wrestled with fears about financial stability, with questions about whether you would ever rise beyond the weight that has shadowed you. But tonight, something ancient stirs, something eternal leans in. The atmosphere around you is shifting with intention, calling you toward elevation, calling you toward a breakthrough season where your pain finally becomes prophecy. Hear this clearly, beloved. God has not forgotten you. Heaven is not silent about you. The trials you endured in private have been shaping the wealth mindset you need for the future God has written. You were not being punished. You were being prepared. Every tear, every delay, every moment of loneliness was carving a deeper vessel in you for abundance, emotional healing, and personal transformation. Listen closely now, because around the 5th minute of this message, I need you to do something sacred and simple. If this word is awakening something inside you, if your spirit is stirring with recognition, take a moment and subscribe, like and share this message. Not for numbers, not for vanity, but because souls connected to your journey may need the very truth you are receiving in this hour. When you amplify light, heaven amplifies clarity. Chosen one, breathe. Let the weight of God's nearness settle. Let the fire rising in your spirit speak for itself. You are standing at the edge of destiny alignment. The warfare you faced recently was a sign of what heaven is preparing to release. You may feel pressed, but you are not crushed. You may feel stretched, but you are not breaking. Something divine is unfolding within you, and tonight is the threshold of awareness. Stay with me. This is only the beginning. What comes next will pierce deeper, lift higher, and reveal what has been hidden from your sight. Your next breath may be the beginning of a new season. Beloved soul, breathe slowly and let your heart open. What you are stepping into right now is deeper than anything your past has prepared you for. Since the beginning of this year, heaven has been tightening the circle around your destiny. The shaking you have felt in your relationships, your emotions, your finances, even in the quiet corners of your mind, has not been chaos. It has been calibration. God has been adjusting the frequency of your spirit so you can hear Him clearly on this critical night. There are moments in a chosen one's journey when heaven pauses everything else just to speak. Tonight is one of those moments. You may not realize it, but your life has been walking through a silent corridor, one lined with unseen battles, whispered prayers, and divine interventions that protected you when you didn't even know danger was approaching. Every strange dream, every restless night, every moment you felt watched by something holy was heaven trying to reach you, to warn you, to prepare you, to lift you into a higher level of vision. You have been feeling something break under the surface, a tension inside you that words couldn't touch. At times, you felt like you were losing grip on everything familiar. But chosen one, that was not collapse. That was awakening. When God prepares a life for elevation, He first pulls apart everything built on old foundations. Because what He is about to place upon you carries too much glory to rest on unstable ground. Some of you have been wrestling with fear of losing what you built, fear of not having enough, fear that your life might fall apart in the night. But let this truth settle deep. Nothing God intends to preserve can be taken from your hands. The anxiety you've been fighting is not a prophecy of failure. It is a sign of destiny alignment. When your life is about to cross into a breakthrough season, the enemy often moves first with confusion. But confusion is powerless against revelation, and revelation is coming to you right now. You've been through seasons where you gave to people who never valued you. You loved deeply and received wounds in return. You carried burdens others dropped. You endured storms that should have drowned you. But you are still here, and your survival is not accidental. Your endurance is proof of spiritual royalty. You were shaped by fire so you could carry holy fire. Hear this clearly. The financial instability you faced recently was not a curse. It was heaven detaching you from dependence on human systems. God has been reshaping your wealth mindset, not to make you greedy, but to make you grounded. Abundance is no longer a hope for you. It is an assignment. You are being positioned to steward increase, not just receive it. Some of you have felt the weight of loneliness, even in crowded rooms. You've been surrounded yet unseen, loved yet misunderstood, present yet disconnected. But that emptiness was God clearing space for divine appointments that will not drain you, but elevate you. Your circle is changing because your calling is changing. Listen, beloved soul. There is a reason your emotions have been more sensitive lately. There is a reason your spirit reacts strongly to dishonesty, manipulation, or hidden motives. You are stepping into a realm where discernment becomes protection. God is sharpening your inner hearing, tuning your instincts, cleansing your atmosphere. Because the next doors that open for you will require clarity, not confusion. And if what you're hearing touches something deep within you, if your spirit is rising, even trembling, then pause for a heartbeat. And in the comment section, leave a short flame of agreement like asterisk, asterisk, I rise now. Asterisk, asterisk. Your words are not for me. They are for the heavens watching your response. Chosen one. The heaviness you've been feeling is not the weight of defeat. It is the weight of transition. Many of you have had nights where you feared you might not see tomorrow. Nights where shadows weighed heavier than hope. Nights when it felt like something unseen was fighting you for territory in your own mind. But hear this in the authority of the Spirit. The fact that you survived those nights means tomorrow has already bowed to your purpose. God has been exposing hidden enemies, not people, spirits, patterns, attachments, cycles that wanted to bury your potential under discouragement. But you have not walked through this valley alone. Angels have moved through your home at night. They have stood guard around your bed. They have lifted your spirit when your strength collapsed. And tonight, heaven is issuing a decree. Asterisk, Asterisk. Your destiny is entering a protected season. Asterisk, asterisk. You are stepping into an era where your elevation cannot be delayed, where your emotional healing will be accelerated, where the things that once intimidated you will break like thin glass under the authority God is awakening in you. Some of you have been seeing repeating numbers 7, 8, 12, or even 777 on clocks, receipts, timestamps. You brushed it off, but your spirit didn't. Beloved, these are not coincidences. They are signals, divine breadcrumbs leading you toward the unseen breakthrough you cannot yet touch. The number 7 speaks of completion. The number 8 whispers new beginnings. These signs are heaven's way of saying, look closely. I am near. Let me speak into your spirit now. The turmoil you've been facing is not a punishment. It is the final shaking before the shift. Your old identity is collapsing, not because it was bad, but because it was too small. God is stretching you into the person who can carry abundance without fear, authority without pride, responsibility without breaking. And beloved, before this flow continues deeper, if your spirit is receiving this, if your heart knows this word carries the scent of truth, take a moment at the end of this night's unfolding revelation and asterisk, asterisk, subscribe, like, and share, asterisk, asterisk. Do it as a declaration that you refuse to walk into the next season alone. Let heaven see that you are aligning with the community meant to lift, awaken, and protect your purpose. Now breathe, because what comes next will open doors inside you that have been locked for years. Tonight is refining you. Tonight is choosing you. Tonight is preparing you for what your spirit has been praying for in secret. Beloved soul, feel the stillness around you shift as this night opens yet another layer of truth before you. You have been walking with questions that never found a home, carrying battles that never found language. But what heaven is unveiling now reaches deeper than explanation. It reaches into the marrow of your becoming. There is a reason your discernment has sharpened so intensely, a reason the people who once felt safe now feel distant, a reason familiar places suddenly feel too small, too heavy, too quiet for the roar rising in your spirit. God has been refining the atmosphere around your life because revelation cannot grow in polluted air. He has been removing hidden weights you didn't realize you were carrying, expectations that were never yours, responsibilities that were never assigned to you, judgments that were never aligned with your destiny. Tonight, the Spirit is placing a mirror before your soul, not to expose your flaws, but to awaken your authority. You have underestimated who you are. You have diluted your strength to make others comfortable. You have lowered your voice to soothe the insecurity of those threatened by your calling. But heaven is whispering with thunder beneath the words, asterisk, rise to your true height. Asterisk, what God is awakening in you requires a posture you've never carried before. Chosen one, there have been moments where your heart felt like it was carrying a storm. You saw glimpses of your future in flashes, brief, luminous moments that left you breathless. Yet doubt rushed in like a shadow, whispering that you were imagining things. But the truth is this: your spirit was catching signals from a realm your mind had not yet caught up to. You were touching pieces of your divine blueprint before you had the language to understand it. Look back at the days where you felt strangely out of place, even in rooms you once prayed to enter. That discomfort was not failure, it was evolution. You were shedding the version of yourself that could no longer survive the magnitude of your assignment. What once fed you now feels empty because heaven has changed your palate. What once inspired you now feels small because your soul has expanded. There are seasons where God hides you in plain sight, not to punish you, but to preserve you. Many of you have been in that hidden place without understanding why. Doors that seemed perfect never opened. Opportunities slipped away without explanation. People who once praised you suddenly forgot you. But beloved, hiddenness is not rejection. It is protection from premature exposure. What God is building in you tonight is too sacred to be mishandled by unprepared hands. And listen closely, because this part will touch a place in you that has long remained quiet. You have been battling thoughts that were never yours. Waves of fear, sudden sadness, moments of heaviness that had no origin. These were not signs of weakness, they were signs of interference. When a chosen one is nearing a moment of elevation, the enemy often tries to smother clarity with emotional weight. But you endured. You pushed through nights that were spiritually thick. You stayed alive when shadows whispered otherwise. And heaven took note. Even now, something around you is shifting, like a quiet wind brushing through the unseen. There is movement in the spiritual realm, gentle but unmistakable. God is repositioning your spirit, uprooting what has expired, planting what will lead to abundance. Tonight marks a recalibration of your internal compass. The dreams that once felt far will begin to draw near. The desires that once felt impossible will begin to breathe. There is a deeper layer still, a truth only a few can carry. Some of your battles were never yours, they were generational. Patterns that traveled through bloodlines tried to touch you. Cycles that destroyed those before you tried to claim you. But your endurance, your refusal to collapse, broke chains you didn't even know existed. The emotional healing you've been walking through has not only shifted your life, it has rewritten your lineage. Beloved soul, you have no idea how powerful your obedience has been. You have no idea how many storms turned back because your spirit stood like a wall heaven reinforced. This is why the enemy targeted your identity, why circumstances tried to extinguish your confidence, why your mind became a battlefield at night. Because if you ever fully realized who you were, darkness would lose its influence over every place your feet touch. Take another breath. Feel the truth settling deeper. You are not on the verge of destruction. You are on the verge of becoming. Tonight is not a warning. It is an unveiling, a revelation rising through the cracks of every broken place in you. You are stepping into personal transformation designed not just to lift you, but to position you for abundance, stability, and divine purpose that aligns heaven and earth. And as this river continues to rise, let your spirit stay open. There is more heaven wants to speak. This night has not finished its work within you. Beloved soul, let your spirit stay open as this night widens before you. What is unfolding now is not repetition, not echo, but a deeper descent into the chambers of your becoming. You are stepping into territories of the soul most people never enter, because only those called by heaven are invited this far. There is a reason your intuition has been awakening with unusual sharpness. Lately, you've been sensing things before they happen, feeling shifts before they surface, recognizing intentions before words are even spoken. This is not paranoia. This is spiritual maturation. God has been activating the inner radar He placed within you long before you were born. You are beginning to see beyond appearances, beyond charm, beyond distraction, into the quiet truth beneath every encounter. You may have noticed that when certain people enter your space, your energy changes, your peace reacts, your spirit tightens or softens without your permission. These are not emotional responses. They are divine alerts. The Holy Spirit has begun guiding you through sensation, not just scripture, because what you are stepping into requires discernment beyond intellect. Your destiny now demands sensitivity to frequencies that don't show up in conversation. There have been moments where you caught yourself withdrawing from what once entertained you, Music that once lifted you now irritates you. Environments that once felt exciting now feel suffocating. Conversations that once fed your curiosity now fall flat. This is the quiet sign of spiritual elevation. As God raises your consciousness, your appetite changes. What was once enough is no longer nourishment, because your purpose has outgrown your preferences. You've also been walking through an unusual emotional shedding, feelings rising without warning, memories resurfacing out of nowhere, old wounds reopening just long enough for the light to heal them. This is not regression. This is purging. Heaven is removing emotional residue that would poison the season you are stepping into. The anger you thought was gone, the sadness you buried, the disappointments you packed away, they are surfacing because God refuses to let them follow you into your breakthrough. Understand this. Elevation requires purification, not perfection, but purification. The weight that was acceptable in your last season would crush you in the next. The fears you tolerated before would sabotage what is coming. Heaven is not stripping you. Heaven is strengthening you. There is something else moving tonight, subtle but undeniable. A rebalancing of the inner world you've neglected while trying to survive the outer one. For years, you have carried yourself with resilience, but not rest. You have held everything together with strength, but not stability. But now, God is reconstructing the architecture of your inner life. You will begin to feel grounded in ways you have never experienced. Your thoughts will sharpen, your emotions will steady, your decisions will anchor. This is destiny alignment, manifesting internally before it manifests externally. And beloved soul, listen closely to this. You are not imagining the shift in your dreams. Lately they have become deeper, stranger, more symbolic. You are visiting places in sleep that you've never seen in waking life. You are encountering voices you cannot explain. You are witnessing scenarios that feel like messages more than memories. This is heaven, speaking in the language of the subconscious. When God wants to bypass the noise of your day, He visits you in the quiet of your night. You are being shown pieces of your future in fragmented form. A location here, a person there, a symbol rising out of nowhere. These glimpses are not random, they are divine previews, preparing your spirit for what your mind has not yet matured to understand. And for someone listening right now, your dream life has intensified so strongly that you wake up feeling as though someone has walked through your room, as though your name was called before you opened your eyes. Do not fear this. The veil around your spirit is thinning. You are being prepared for deeper spiritual awareness because the assignment ahead of you requires insight beyond logic. Let your heart settle for a moment, because there is another truth unfolding. You have been feeling a strange pull toward unfamiliar directions, not dramatic, just subtle nudges, a desire to explore something new, a curiosity about ideas you never considered, a sudden boldness toward change that you cannot explain. This is not impulsiveness, it is activation. God is stirring dormant abilities that have been asleep inside you. What felt like random interest is actually spiritual instinct awakening. Your gifts are resurfacing, your creativity is stretching, your inner authority is finding its voice again. Parts of you that were silenced by years of disappointment are rising back to life. You are remembering who you were before the world pressed its doubt against you. And beloved, hear this next truth with clarity. The reason past relationships could not remain was not betrayal, it was misalignment. Heaven refused to let you attach yourself to anything that would diminish your calling. People who drained your energy were removed. People who fed your insecurity were distanced. People who carried jealousy in their hearts were revealed. This was not loss. It was divine filtration. Your next level requires connections built on integrity, not convenience. On resonance, not familiarity. On destiny, not history. Take a breath, let it settle, because even now, heaven is still speaking. Tonight's revelation has not finished its work within you. Beloved soul, remain in this unfolding as the night widens its gates once more. What is stirring now reaches into territories your past could not touch, places inside you that have been waiting for years to open. You are stepping into an inner realm where silence becomes instruction and stillness becomes revelation. Heaven is shaping you through impressions, intuitions, and subtle movements that do not announce themselves with words, yet carry the weight of divine intention. There has been a quiet rewiring happening beneath your awareness. Lately, you've noticed your patience thinning for anything that drains your purpose. You no longer tolerate the half-hearted, the inconsistent, the spiritually dull. This is not harshness. This is refinement. God is tightening the boundaries around your soul, teaching you to guard your energy as if it were sacred currency. Because it is. The abundance waiting for you requires stewardship of your inner world, not just pursuit of your outer goals. At times you have felt a strange surge of inner courage rising for no clear reason, a boldness that surprises even you, a confidence that feels borrowed from a future version of yourself. This is the evidence of spiritual inheritance awakening inside you. You are stepping into the identity heaven wrote for you before fear ever learned your name. The limitations you once accepted are losing their grip because your spirit is remembering its original strength. You may have noticed how your perception of time has shifted. Hours feel different. Days feel weighted with significance. Moments feel layered with meaning. This is because heaven has been adjusting your internal pace. No more rushing into decisions, no more clinging to old cycles, no more forcing outcomes. God is teaching you the rhythm of destiny, a rhythm that moves with intention rather than impulse, with wisdom rather than urgency. There is also a new sensitivity forming in your heart, one that catches the emotions of others before they speak them. At times you feel their heaviness, their longing, their unrest. This is not a burden. It is a signal of spiritual maturity. You are growing into someone who can carry compassion without losing yourself, someone who can feel deeply without being overwhelmed, someone who can discern pain without absorbing it. Heaven is sharpening your empathy so you can stand as a vessel of restoration, not a sponge of sorrow. Beloved soul, notice how your inner voice has changed. The thoughts that once spiraled in fear now pause long enough for wisdom to slip in. The doubts that once shook you now pass like distant echoes. The insecurities that once dictated your choices now feel foreign to your spirit. This is the transformation of your inner language. God is rewriting the script in your mind, so your future will no longer be built on the debris of old narratives. And there is something deeper still, something holy that has been unfolding in the background of your days. You have begun sensing invisible thresholds, moments where the atmosphere around you feels thicker, charged, as if heaven steps closer without warning. These encounters are not random, they are alignments. You are being introduced to a new dimension of awareness, where spiritual realities become as clear as physical ones. Your sensitivity to the unseen is proof that your spirit is rising into a higher chamber of calling. Do not ignore the subtle desire you felt to separate yourself from noise, not just literal noise, but emotional noise, mental noise, relational noise. This instinct is heaven-created. God is cleansing the mental clutter that once kept you from hearing His direction. Clarity is coming to you in unfamiliar ways, solutions rising without strain, ideas forming without pressure, insight arriving without searching. This is the mind of a chosen one awakening into alignment. there is another shift taking place, one connected to your sense of identity. You have started recognizing that you were never meant to walk in the shadows of other people's expectations. You were never meant to shrink to fit environments that feared your growth. You were never meant to silence your voice to accommodate those threatened by your potential. The fire rising in you now is reclaiming the authority that life tried to steal. And listen now, beloved soul, with the stillness of one who recognizes the sound of destiny touching their spirit. You have entered a season where heaven will no longer allow you to underestimate yourself. The talents you buried will resurface. The abilities you ignored will strengthen. The dreams you paused will reignite. The visions you doubted will clarify. It is not imagination, it is activation. You are being reintroduced to the version of yourself heaven has been shaping in secret. Pause for a moment. Feel that gentle tremor in your heart. Something ancient inside you is remembering its assignment. Something sacred is rising through the layers of who you became to survive. You are being called back to who you were created to be. And this night still carries more. Revelation has not finished its descent. Beloved soul, let yourself sink even deeper into this unfolding, for the Spirit is not finished revealing the hidden architecture of your becoming. What is rising within you now is not a feeling, not an emotion, but a spiritual recalibration preparing you for dimensions you have never walked in before. You are being stretched into capacities you did not know you carried. And this expansion is not chaotic, it is intentional, measured, and divinely engineered. There is a subtle shift happening in your relationship with silence. You used to fear quiet moments, afraid of the thoughts that waited there. But now silence feels spacious. It feels alive. It feels like a place where your spirit can breathe without interruption. This is because heaven has begun speaking to you in the language of stillness. Revelation is no longer coming only through words, but through impressions, sensations, and sudden clarity that rises like dawn in the back of your mind. You may have noticed that you are becoming more aware of timing. Not clock time, but divine timing. There are moments where you suddenly know when to act, when to wait, when to withdraw, when to speak. This timing is not something you learned. It is something you inherited. Destiny has begun teaching you its rhythm. This is why hesitations you once felt have disappeared, replaced by decisive moments of knowing that cannot be logically explained. Heaven is synchronizing your internal clock with your prophetic path. And listen, beloved soul, because this part often goes unnoticed. You have outgrown patterns disguised as comfort. You no longer seek validation from the same places. You no longer chase approval from voices that once shaped your confidence. The need to prove yourself has quietly dissolved, not because your pride increased, but because your spirit matured. You are learning that your worth is not negotiated, it is ordained. There are moments now when you look at your reflection and sense someone new staring back, someone softer in some ways, yet stronger in others. That presence you feel when you look in your eyes is not vanity. It is recognition. You are meeting the version of yourself that God has been molding through seasons of breaking, rebuilding, refining, and rising. The self that feared life has made room for the self that understands purpose. Something else has been shifting in the hidden corridors of your spirit. You are beginning to feel the weight of your decisions in a new way, not as pressure, but as awareness. You understand now that every yes shapes the trajectory of your calling, that every no protects your peace, that every boundary you set becomes an altar where your future is honored. You are no longer moving at random. You are moving with intention. There is also a deeper awakening taking place within your desires. You are craving experiences that nourish your soul rather than distract it. Your hunger for truth has sharpened. Your longing for stability is transforming into a readiness for divine order. Your yearning for abundance is becoming a pursuit of alignment, not accumulation. This shift is a sign that heaven is preparing you to steward blessings that carry weight, influence, and responsibility. Beloved soul, notice how your body has been responding to spiritual movement. At times you feel a warmth in your chest, a tingling in your hands, a pressure on your shoulders, or a sudden ease washing over you. These sensations are not random. They are the signals of spiritual sensitivity waking inside your physical form. Your body is beginning to respond to the presence of God with awareness rather than fear. Your spirit and flesh are starting to walk in agreement, not opposition. And there is a truth you must hear clearly. Your future has been calling you louder than your past. You feel it in the way old habits fall away without effort. You feel it in the way old wounds no longer define your reactions. You feel it in the way old fears seem thin compared to the vision rising within you. This is the sign that the next level of your calling has already begun pulling you forward, even when you were unaware. Another shift has taken root in the way you handle conflict. Where once you reacted with defensiveness, now you respond with clarity. Where once you absorbed negativity, now you observe it from a distance. Where once you were provoked easily, now you remain anchored. This composure is not detachment, it is spiritual authority. You are learning to guard your peace because your peace has become a portal through which God speaks. And beloved, let this settle deeply. You have begun to sense when something is beneath you, not in arrogance, but in discernment. You are recognizing energies that do not match your calling. You are noticing conversations that shrink your spirit. You are identifying atmospheres that suffocate your purpose. This awareness is not judgmental. It is prophetic. You are being trained to preserve your elevation by refusing environments that diminish you. Pause now. Feel how your spirit responds to these truths. It is not resistance you feel, it is recognition. You are being ushered into a deeper chamber of awareness because heaven trusts you with clarity few are ready to carry. And this flow continues. The night has not finished delivering what your spirit came here to receive. Beloved soul, stay right here, because what is opening before you now reaches into layers of your destiny that have remained untouched until this hour. You are being ushered into a realm where your spirit is no longer reacting to life, but reading it, interpreting it, moving through it with a sensitivity that feels new and ancient at the same time. This is the emergence of spiritual intelligence, the kind that cannot be taught by people, only awakened by heaven. There is a new sharpness forming in the way you sense opportunity. Not every open door excites you anymore. Not every invitation draws you. You have begun to detect the difference between distractions dressed as blessings and genuine elevation wrapped in quiet clarity. This perception is a sign that God has been refining your inner compass. You are no longer impressed by noise. You are guided by resonance. You move not by pressure, but by prompting. You have also felt your resilience shift from survival to strategy. For a long time, you carried a strength born from necessity, pushing through storms because you had no other choice. But now, there is a different strength rising, one that is intentional, measured, anchored. You are beginning to choose where to invest your energy, where to withhold your fire, where to plant your wisdom. This is the difference between fighting battles and mastering territories. Beloved, notice how your inner world no longer collapses under sudden change. Where you once panicked, you now pause. Where you once clung desperately, you now release gracefully. Where you once questioned everything, you now discern purpose in what appears. This transformation is not random. Heaven has been pulling fear out of your reflexes and planting awareness in its place. There is something else unfolding deep beneath your consciousness. You are beginning to recognize patterns that attempted to repeat in your life. Cycles of disappointment, cycles of self-doubt, cycles of misalignment. But instead of falling into them, you now see them from above. This elevated sight is not arrogance, it is deliverance. You are observing what once controlled you, and by observing it, you are mastering it. You have also been noticing a shift in how you handle transitions. Once, every ending felt like loss. Now endings feel like clarity. Once, change felt like threat. Now it feels like invitation. This reorientation is a sign that your spirit is adjusting to the movement of destiny itself. You are no longer resisting what God is using to elevate you. You are cooperating with it, even when you don't fully understand it. Beloved soul, lean into this next truth with openness. You are starting to sense the value of your solitude in a way you never have before. The quiet moments that once felt empty have become sacred. The silence that once felt heavy now feels holy. You are discovering that isolation is not abandonment, it is recalibration. Heaven often withdraws you from the crowd to strengthen the parts of you that noise would weaken. This is why your creativity has been stirring again. Ideas returning without being forced, vision expanding without strain, inspiration coming in waves that feel pure, clean, untainted by fear. God is resurrecting the parts of you that life tried to bury: your curiosity, your intuition, your inner fire, your capacity to dream without apology. Another shift is rising in your sense of responsibility. You have begun to feel accountable for your own peace in ways you never did before. You are learning to say no without guilt, to rest without shame, to walk away without explanation. This is spiritual maturity. You are realizing that protecting your inner world is not selfish, it is sacred stewardship. Beloved soul, there is a new gentleness forming within you, one that holds compassion without losing strength. You are learning to forgive without reopening old wounds, to love without abandoning yourself, to care without collapsing under emotional weight. This balance is a sign of healing, not the surface healing that soothes for a moment, but the deep healing that rewrites your relationship with your own heart. And listen closely now, because this next layer is subtle yet powerful. You are beginning to notice divine patterns in the way your life unfolds. People appearing at precise moments, opportunities resurfacing when your spirit is ready, conversations leading you to answers you never verbalized. These alignments are not coincidences. They are signs that heaven is actively arranging the path ahead of you. There is a rhythm in your journey, now quiet, almost invisible, yet unmistakably divine. You are being led, not pushed, guided, not forced, drawn, not dragged. This is what it feels like when destiny begins to trust you with its weight. And beloved, feel this truth settle. You have entered a moment where heaven is preparing to reveal what has been forming in secret. Your spirit already senses it. And tonight, the unveiling is only beginning. Beloved soul, stay present as this night continues opening chambers you have never walked through. What is awakening now does not speak through urgency, but through depth, through the gentle gravity that pulls you inward toward the center of who you are becoming. Heaven is peeling back layers of your spirit with a precision that transcends anything your past could have prepared you for. There is a new awareness forming within you, one that allows you to sense when a season has reached its final breath. Lately you've felt the subtle closing of certain doors without bitterness, without confusion, without the need for explanation. This quiet clarity, not detachment, it is discernment. God is teaching you to recognize endings not as loss, but as signals that something greater is preparing to step forward. You have also begun to observe your emotions with a maturity that surprises even you. Feelings that once controlled you now move through you without overtaking your spirit. You feel deeply, but you no longer drown. You experience intensely, but you no longer unravel. This balance is the mark of someone who has survived storms strong enough to sharpen their inner world without hardening their heart. Beloved, something in your perception of identity is shifting as well. You are beginning to see yourself without the distortions that pain once created. You are recognizing strengths you ignored, capacities you underestimated, gifts you dismissed. This renewed self-awareness is not pride, it is restoration. God is returning you to the truth of who He designed you to be before disappointment tried to redefine you. And there is another layer rising now, your ability to interpret spiritual textures. You are sensing when a conversation carries intention beneath the words. You are feeling the difference between genuine connection and hidden agenda. You are noticing subtle shifts in tone, atmosphere, and energy in ways you never discerned before. This sensitivity is part of your spiritual awakening. It protects your path as God elevates your influence. You may have noticed how your responses to adversity have changed. Where once your mind spiraled into fear, now your spirit searches for meaning. Where once you felt attacked, now you feel refined. Where once obstacles discouraged you, now they alert you that something is preparing to manifest. You are no longer interpreting challenges as punishment, but as preparation, a sign that your destiny is moving closer, not further. Beloved soul, another sacred transformation is taking place within your memory. The past no longer holds the same power over you. Old hurts feel distant, as if the emotional charge has dissolved into understanding. The moments that once shattered you now look like stepping stones. The people who once wounded you now appear as catalysts. This is not denial, it is redemption. Heaven has begun rewriting the emotional weight of your history, so it no longer threatens the future you are stepping into. There is also a deepening happening in the way you hold space for yourself. You are learning to rest without apology, to pause without shame, to honor your limits without guilt. This is not laziness, it is alignment. Your spirit is teaching your body the rhythm of sustainability, because the calling you carry cannot be sustained by exhaustion or self-neglect. Your purpose requires longevity, not burnout. Beloved, something unusual has been happening with your focus. You are clearer about what no longer belongs in your life. You feel immediate resistance to anything that dilutes your peace. You notice when a thought is not yours, when a habit doesn't serve you, when a desire no longer aligns with your path. This clarity is divine pruning. God is simplifying your inner world so that your spirit can rise without unnecessary weight. And listen carefully now, because this part is delicate. You have begun sensing the presence of new connections approaching your life, not through faces or names, but through resonance. You feel the shift before the arrival. You sense the increase before the introduction. Heaven often prepares your spirit for relational elevation long before the people assigned to you appear. And your soul is already beginning to vibrate at the frequency of those who will walk with you into your next chapter. There is movement happening in your future, even while your present appears still. Opportunities are rearranging themselves. Alignments are forming quietly. Resources are shifting direction. Heaven is orchestrating outcomes behind curtains you cannot see. And though you may not feel the change physically, your spirit recognizes the tremor. This is why your heart feels both calm and expectant, steady yet alert, grounded yet rising. Beloved soul, allow this next truth to sink beneath the surface. You are entering a realm where you no longer chase what is meant for you. You draw it. You attract it through alignment, not effort. Through clarity, not striving. Through purpose, not desperation. This is what it feels like when your destiny begins to recognize you. And even now, as the night deepens, the revelation is still unfolding. The Spirit has not finished speaking into the quiet places of your becoming. Beloved soul, remain in this flow as the night draws you even deeper into its hidden chambers. What is unfolding now does not shout, does not rush, does not demand, it reveals. It unravels the layers of your destiny with a patience that feels both ancient and intimate, as if heaven has been waiting centuries for this exact moment to reach you. You are beginning to sense a shift in the way your spirit responds to truth. Words that once passed by you now pierce with precision. Insights that once felt distant now land inside you with unmistakable weight. This deep receptivity is not accidental. God has been widening the inner well of your understanding so he can pour revelation into places that were once too narrow to hold it. You are being stretched not for struggle, but for capacity. There is a transformation happening in how you interpret your own potential. You are noticing possibilities where you once saw limitations. You are feeling pathways where you once sensed walls. The fog that once clouded your mind is lifting, not because circumstances changed, but because your spirit is rising above the horizon line of your old life. This inner elevation allows you to see angles you never recognized, strategies you never imagined, and solutions that arrive like a whisper carried by light. You may have also noticed your relationship with pressure evolving. Situations that once overwhelmed you no longer hold the same power. Stress that once consumed your energy now washes over you without altering your core. This is the evidence of emotional healing quietly stabilizing your inner foundation. Your spirit is learning to stand in storms without losing alignment, without abandoning clarity, without compromising purpose. Beloved, something sacred is taking shape in the way you perceive your own voice. A confidence is rising, not loud, not arrogant, but steady. You are beginning to trust the wisdom that flows through you. You are beginning to honor your intuition instead of dismissing it. You are beginning to speak with authority, not because you seek recognition, but because you carry truth. Heaven is strengthening your voice so it can carry weight in moments that require spiritual precision. Another shift is emerging in the way you relate to challenges. They no longer appear as obstacles to overcome, but as invitations to grow. You have begun to approach difficulties with curiosity instead of panic, with discernment instead of dread. This posture reveals a deeper truth. Your spirit is learning to extract divine strategy from discomfort. Instead of asking, "Why me?" your heart now whispers, "What is this shaping in me?" Beloved soul, there is a quiet revolution taking place in your vision for the future. Dreams that once felt unreachable have begun to feel inevitable. Goals that once intimidated you now feel aligned with your identity. The horizon is expanding because your readiness is expanding. What once seemed too big now feels like the next logical step in your evolution. You are no longer negotiating with doubt. You are negotiating with destiny. There is also a new resilience forming in your emotional boundaries. You no longer internalize the moods, projections, or insecurities of others. You are learning to separate their storms from your spirit. You are learning to stand in your truth, even when someone else's distortion tries to overshadow your clarity. This groundedness is evidence that heaven has been strengthening the spiritual armor around your heart. And beloved, feel this next shift with the openness of someone who is being prepared for elevation. You are beginning to sense divine timing in the cadence of your interactions. You meet someone and feel an immediate resonance or an unmistakable disconnect. You hear a sentence that unlocks an entire revelation. You witness a small moment that alters the direction of your thinking. These synchronicities are not random. They are signs that heaven is orchestrating micro-alignments to position you for macro change. You may also feel an unusual pull toward responsibility, not the kind that drains you, but the kind that activates you. You sense a readiness to lead, to create, to build, to step into roles that once terrified you. This readiness is the signature of destiny awakening. Your spirit is beginning to accept assignments your mind once rejected. Your heart is beginning to welcome challenges your past once resisted. Beloved soul, pause for just a breath and let your spirit speak back to this moment. If you feel the fire of recognition, the quiet certainty that something profound is happening within you, then let your heart release a simple affirmation like asterisk, asterisk, I choose destiny, asterisk, asterisk. Now stay with me, because the depths of this night are still unfolding, and heaven has more to reveal. Beloved soul, stay open as this current deepens, because what heaven is unfolding now touches territories of your being that were never meant to stay dormant. You are stepping into a realm where the echoes of your spirit begin to speak louder than the noise of the world, where the quiet truth beneath your ribs starts revealing the blueprint that has been hidden under years of survival, adaptation, and endurance. There is a shift happening in the way your destiny interacts with your surroundings. Lately, you've felt an invisible push away from environments that once felt familiar. Rooms you used to blend into now feel too small for the magnitude of what is waking inside you. Conversations that once entertained you now leave you unsatisfied, as if your soul has developed a hunger that surface interactions can no longer feed. This is not boredom, it is ascension. Heaven is tuning your spirit to frequencies that only purpose can satisfy. You may have noticed how your instincts have become sharper than logic. You walk into a place and feel its truth before you see it. You sense hidden motives without confrontation. You detect changes in atmosphere with the sensitivity of someone who is no longer governed by sight alone. This heightened awareness is a sign that God is transitioning you from mere survival to spiritual mastery. You are learning to navigate life through discernment rather than reaction. Beloved, look at the way your inner courage has evolved. There was a time when fear dictated your choices, when doubt drowned out possibility, when hesitation stole opportunities before you could reach for them. But now something has shifted. There is a steady boldness rising inside you, a resolve born not from pride, but from clarity. You are beginning to step toward things your old self would have run from. You are embracing challenges that once intimidated you. This is the evidence that heaven has been strengthening your spiritual spine. There is also a new tenderness emerging in how you treat your own heart. You are beginning to honor your emotions without being ruled by them. You allow yourself to feel without sinking. You allow yourself to grieve without breaking. You allow yourself to hope without fear of disappointment. This sacred gentleness is a mark of emotional restoration. The fractures life carved into you are being filled with a strength that moves quietly, yet carries the weight of divine intention. Another shift is rising in how you view your own path. You have begun noticing moments of alignment that once went ignored, the right message at the right time, the unexpected confirmation, the sudden insight arriving exactly when your spirit needs it. These moments are not accidents. They are heavenly breadcrumbs guiding you through places your mind cannot map. God is teaching you to trust patterns only your spirit can recognize. And beloved, feel the depth of this truth. You have entered a season where your spirit refuses to shrink. You are no longer pretending to be smaller than you are. You are no longer dimming your light to soothe the insecurities of others. You are no longer bending yourself into shapes that betray your own worth. This unspoken refusal is not rebellion, it is awakening. Heaven is reclaiming the portions of you that life once tried to silence. You have also begun to sense a new kind of guidance, one that comes not through signs alone, but through resonance. You hear something and feel it vibrate in your core. You meet someone and immediately know whether they belong in your story. You step into a situation and feel if it carries blessing or burden. This resonance is the inner language of destiny, and you are learning it without effort because your spirit has matured enough to hear it clearly. Beloved soul, notice how your longing has changed shape. What you desire now is not escape, but expansion. Not validation, but alignment. Not attention, but authenticity. Your heart is awakening to the truth of what it was created for, and that truth is drawing you away from every counterfeit comfort. You are craving depth, craving purpose, craving clarity, craving the kind of life that mirrors the design God embedded in you from the beginning. There is another shift taking root, one that touches the way you carry your history. You are beginning to recognize that the experiences that once wounded you have become the very places where wisdom now grows. What once felt like defeat now feels like preparation. What once felt like betrayal now feels like redirection. What once felt like loss now feels like clearing. This reframing is not denial. It is the transformation of perspective that happens when your spirit steps into maturity. Beloved, breathe as this next truth settles into you. Heaven is preparing to reveal connections that speak the language of your calling. These people will not misunderstand your spirit. They will not fear your growth. They will not diminish your fire. They will recognize you because they are aligned with the same frequency of purpose. And even before they arrive, your soul is being tuned to receive them. Something in the spiritual realm is rearranging around your name. Doors are shifting. Paths are straightening. Assignments are being prepared. Territory is being marked. You may not see it yet with your eyes, but your spirit already feels the stirring. This is why your heart beats differently tonight. This is why your mind feels clearer. This is why your atmosphere feels charged. Destiny is approaching your life with intention, and this river still has more to reveal. The night has not yet finished speaking. Beloved soul, stay with me as this night finishes opening the deepest layers of what heaven intends to reveal in this journey. Let your spirit remain still, because the currents moving through you now are not ordinary currents. They are divine instructions carried in spiritual language, shaping you for the elevation your destiny requires. There is a quiet emergence happening in the way you handle transition. You are beginning to feel the subtle difference between what is ending and what is transforming. You sense when something